Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing today? Is everybody off to a good Thursday? Welcome to the training. Our weekly live training. We're talking about a topic. I haven't talked about this topic in a while, and it's really common for coaches, so we're bringing it back up today. And the topic is good old imposter syndrome. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you guys hopping on here. Good to see some people listening. Go into the comments and say Team Live if you're here live, so I can see your face and say hello and let me know you're here. Go into the comments and say Team Live. This is such an important topic today, and I really feel on my heart that I know there's at least one person that needs to hear this message today. And if this is the shift for at least one person today, then this is the lesson that I want to be talking about. All right. So we're talking about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt not expert enough. If you ever felt like you needed more training, more experience, more research, more something to make you more qualified to be doing this. Give me a heart in the comments if you've ever had this come up for you. Chances are, if you're like most of us, you have. So today we're going to talk all about it. We're going to jam out, and we're really going to talk about how it shows up for us, what sneaky ways it tends to hide inside our life and our business, and what we can do about it to take the power back. Does that sound good to you guys? Do you guys want to hear about that? Taking back the power over our imposter syndrome and all of the sneaky areas that it's showing up. All right. Imposter syndrome, the actual definition of imposter syndrome, is defined as a psychological pattern in which one doubts one's accomplishments and has this internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Right? A psychological pattern in which one doubts one's accomplishments and has this internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So basically, you spend time wondering if you're good enough or not, or if you're educated enough or not, or capable enough. Am I even able to do this? Can I even take on this responsibility of people trusting me? Right? This is something that comes up really often with coaches. So if you're experiencing it and you think something's gone horribly wrong, and this must mean that something has gone wrong and you must really, truly not be qualified, just know that everybody experiences it. Okay, even high up business owners, everyone has this at every level. It never goes away. So why not just shine a light on it today? We can expose it for what it is and do something about it and take all that power back. Let me know if that sounds good, you guys. And a lot of times this comes up because we have people in our life telling us that we're not good enough, or telling us that we're not ready, or we're not capable of doing the thing that we feel called to do. How many of you have ever had someone in your life tell you that you can't be successful with this whole coaching thing? There's already too many people doing it, or I know somebody that tried that and there's no money in that. You're never going to be successful, right? You're never going to be able to just do that. It's too saturated. And there's too many people ahead of you, so you need to be way more qualified and expert than you are right now to succeed. Right? And for coaches, right, everybody in this group, you should be a coach. Otherwise, You're probably not going to find this group very relevant, right? So for coaches, our number one goal is to help people, serve people, right? To help them elevate their lives into this higher state of being, transformation. And so if you have this mission to serve them and to help them. And so for coaches, one of the biggest things that gets in our way of doing that is just thinking that you can't help them, that you can't serve them yet. You're not going to be able to do that right now. Can you see how this is a really big problem in your career as a coach? If that's your whole mission as a coach, to help people, it's going to be kind of a big problem for you if we don't know how to handle it. But everybody deals with this. Doesn't matter if you've made $1 million. It doesn't matter if you're making your first $1,000 in your business. All right. Yes, there will be a replay of this. So don't worry. Let us know if you want the link and we'll get it over to you. My fiance believes in me, but others don't know that I'm even trying. Yeah. So how does that imposter syndrome keep you from being visible to the world and letting the world know about your gifts that you're here to serve them with? In the small town of Sioux Falls, you've been told that there are too many here for me to make a go of it. Right. And how does that make you feel to think that there's already too many people doing this? It's too late for me. It must have been a mistake that this is my purpose and calling, because there's already other people doing it. So maybe this just isn't my purpose and calling. It's too late. Right? What about the other 8 billion people on the planet who are hurting today? Who need this? Right? Super common. People will put their doubts on us. Sometimes we create the doubts in our head. Maybe it's something we're telling ourselves. So what are the symptoms of imposter syndrome? First symptom of imposter syndrome, feeling guilty about what you charge. Having drama about your price. Who am I to do this? Who am I to say that I can do X, Y, Z when I've only done it for myself not that long ago? Or I've only helped a couple other people in my life make a transformation. Who am I to actually charge for this now? How many of you have had drama about your price and actually charging what that is worth, what that transformation would be worth? Let me know in the comments if that's something that you've worried about. Another symptom is shame. Feeling shame about the message that you put out there to the world. Worrying that one person on the internet will see your message, see something that you say, and they're going to know more than you, or they're going to have a different opinion, and they're going to call you out, and they're going to tell you, you're wrong. Trying to be a coach for this. That's wrong. Right? Feeling shame that someone might disagree with us, other people's opinions. Afraid of rejection and disappointing people, right? Afraid of being rejected and disappointed by people even close to us, especially if you're a people pleaser. Any people pleasers in the audience? Raise your hand if you're a people pleaser and you don't like confrontation. You don't like people being upset with you. So what if this upsets someone if I show up and they have a problem with it or they have an opinion about it? You know, if you've ever experienced that. Another symptom is fear of responsibility. It's fear of responsibility. What does that mean? That means that if we did get a client, because we put our message out there to the world and we offered to people that we can help them, now we're responsible for everything they do. The second they wake up in the morning till the second their head hits that pillow, we're now personally responsible for them. And what if they don't do what we say and we fail? What does that make us? We said we could help them. They didn't do what we say. We must not have coached them well enough. Right? These are all of the different fears that can present when imposter syndrome is at play. Right? How does imposter syndrome show up inside our business? You will not offer your services. That's how it shows up. People don't even know that you have a business, that you help people, right? Or you're only offering your services for free, right? Or really low prices, a couple $100, change your life. You never make an offer and say, hey, I can totally help you. I know where you are right now. I can totally help you. Super common, because we're afraid that if we say that, they have to actually get the result. And we're the ones controlling them, right? It's coming from a misunderstanding of what your role is as their coach. Your role is the person that's going to take their hand and facilitate them on their journey. But they still have to choose to say yes to that every day. They still have to choose to commit to that is the transformation that I want. Right? I just give out the information, but no money. Yeah, that's a huge symptom of imposter syndrome. Right? I'm not worth actually getting paid for this, but I do want to help. So let me just give out the information for free. Do you think that that is in their best interest? Which client is going to get the better result? The client that had free information thrown at them? Or the client that actually invested and said, I want to get this information because I'm on a journey of implementation. Right? I'm committed and invested to showing up as my highest version of myself, and that starts today. What is it that you want for them? Do you want that for them? Right? So the sneaky thing about imposter syndrome is that it pretends to be keeping us safe, and it pretends to be protecting everyone else around us. Let me just give it out for free so that I don't hurt anybody if they actually pay me and are disappointed. But it's hurting the client because they're not going to do anything with the free information. They're not going to get that same level of transformation that they would if they actually just committed to working with you. Yep. I know when I spend the money, I do it. I want to have an effect and not fall on deaf ears. Yeah. Right? People pay attention to what they pay for. Here's another way. So let's say you got the client, okay? You're like, okay, imposter syndrome, you've been keeping me from showing up and actually making offers and letting people know I can help them. I've tackled that obstacle. Now I've got the clients, I'm going to serve them. Another way imposter syndrome shows up is when we have the clients. How many of you know that imposter syndrome doesn't go away once they're your client? So how does it show up when you have clients? It shows up as having no boundaries in your coaching. Having no boundaries. So any of your existing clients, this looks like hovering over them. Helicopter coaching. Feeling like you need to be checking in on them multiple times a day. Not from a place of love and service. It's like coming from this place of like, I've got to get them results. They need to think I'm the best coach ever. So I hope they're thinking that right now. I better check in on them and make sure they're okay. How many of you have ever had that with your first client, your first few clients? That's imposter syndrome, and it's showing up now that they're in your business, now that they're a client, feeling personal responsibility and having no boundaries in your coaching. Another way of people pleasing and imposter syndrome, it's like not wanting to make a mistake and in fear that your client is now going to think less of you. Like if they didn't hear from you within 20 minutes. Right? Here's another way it shows up. Endless education. Raise your hand if you've fallen into this camp. Endless education. Information addiction. This is where you get addicted to be in this constant cycle of learning. Oh, I'm going to do a new niche. I think I need a new certification. Oh, I got this certification, but there's this next level of certification that they're offering. I think I need to do that next. And next thing you know, you're $40,000 deep in certifications and educations and learning, right? You accumulate all of these certifications, books, letters after your name. I've even had clients that have letters after their name. MD, right? Nurse practitioner, NP. And yet they still think they need a certification before they get a client, before they can even be open for business. So if we know that they struggle with imposter syndrome, it's like, of course, this is what makes us human. It doesn't mean something's gone horribly wrong. It doesn't mean that because we're feeling this way, we have to stay in school forever until that feeling magically goes away. Right? And don't get me wrong, right? I'm not anti-certification and having knowledge to help people, right? Sometimes people think I'm anti-certification, but what I'm anti is hiding behind education and hiding behind being constantly in school instead of putting your gifts out there to the world. How many of you know you can be in certification and continuing to improve yourself and continuing to educate yourself and still show up in the world and still be open for business and still serve the clients who are looking for help right now? It could happen at the same time, right? So unfortunately, a lot of us coaches, we never let ourselves have the experience of being a coach because we stay in learning, right? Research mode. I'm getting all this information from people. I'm trying to research how to do this to get rid of all these feelings that are actually coming up because of imposter syndrome. All right. So we've talked a lot about imposter syndrome. We know it shows up in our business. It keeps us from actually starting the business and getting clients, but it also shows up inside the business if we don't deal with it. Who wants to hear about how to overcome it? I think we can all agree there's probably somewhere in our life right now that it's poking its little head up and affecting us or holding us back in some way. Who actually wants to talk about the good stuff, which is how to overcome this imposter syndrome? Let me know. I'll wait. Yeah. Seeing some me's, seeing some hands raised. Yeah. So let's take our power back and talk about overcoming imposter syndrome. Since we know there's nothing wrong with us, we're not broken, we're feeling the same way everybody else feels, right? I see it in the comments. We're all in the same boat. How do we overcome this? How do we take that power back? I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think? What do you think you need to do to overcome imposter syndrome? Taking action. We've got 1 vote for taking action. Confidence in yourself. Tell me what you do when you notice imposter syndrome. How do we overcome it? Be confident. Celebrate each little success. Yeah. So if we're not taking action and we're not confident because we're letting imposter syndrome get in the way, right? What if we're like, I just don't feel confident today because I feel like an imposter. I don't have confidence. I don't even know how to fake confidence. That feels inauthentic. Then what do we do? Take a breath and breathe, be okay and comfortable with silence with a client. Continuing to show up as yourself. Give myself some grace and ease, gratitude, joy. Snap a rubber band. I am worthy. So affirmations, visualize success. Lots of great comments. So here's the first thing that we need to do, and this may sound really obvious and simple, but the first thing we need to do is actually just acknowledge it. Just acknowledge that it's there. And I don't mean acknowledge it like we're all acknowledging it right now because we're having a training on it. I mean, become practiced at being present and acknowledging it in the moment when it's showing up in your life. Because 9 times out of 10, when we're letting imposter syndrome get in the way, we're not recognizing in that moment that it's imposter syndrome. We're rationalizing it as something else that feels very important, right? How many times when we talk about imposter syndrome, all the different ways we've talked about so far today that it shows up, how many times have we stopped in that moment and said, oh, this is imposter syndrome. Okay, I know what's happening right now. We didn't tell ourselves that story. We didn't acknowledge it when it was happening. Yeah, like the actual sentence in your head when you're telling yourself, I think I need to get another certification on this. Or I think I just need to coach some people for free because I don't think I'm ready to charge for my work yet. Anytime you have that moment come up, your brain is telling yourself a different story than, oh, this is just imposter syndrome. That's what's happening. This is just me believing a story that's not serving me or the people that need me right now. Right? Sometimes as coaches, we get this idea that we need to just like be this vessel of positivity, and that if we're feeling negative emotion, that something's gone horribly wrong. Right? So that's why imposter syndrome lingers around, because we just spend all this time avoiding it. Right? Instead of saying, oh, this is totally normal to feel this way, and it doesn't mean that I shouldn't do the thing that's going to lead me to my purpose and calling today. Let me know in the comments if that's making sense to you guys. So getting really in tune and self-aware when it's present, because it won't show up as imposter syndrome. It'll show up as a story in your mind, a story of why I can't, why I shouldn't right now, why I probably can't help them, why they're probably upset with me. If they're a current client, I'm probably not helping them enough. If they're not a client, why I can't get clients right now. right? So first step is acknowledging it's there and you're feeling it. Because when we resist it, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger it comes, the more real it feels that this must be true. This must be something that I can't have right now because it feels so big in our mind, right? So take a step back, acknowledge it, and say, well, what's this all about, brain? What is this all about? And usually this comes up when we're doing something new, when we're growing and expanding, right? There's who we're becoming, the goal we have for ourselves, the life we are called to live, and where we're at right now. And everything in between is discomfort because it's growth. It's stepping into a new version of you. Of course, it feels uncomfortable. So, what's this all about, brain? Acknowledging it, because our unconscious mind is always looking to protect us. Your unconscious mind doesn't know this is your calling up here. It thinks down here, this is where you've been hanging out, living in, a mediocre, comfortable life. But that's okay. That's safe, right? And if you start moving towards your calling and your highest version of yourself, your actual potential, that looks risky. That looks like death, potential death. And in the world of online, we're talking about social death, right? Humiliation, shame, judgment. So one step of acknowledging it is calling it out, that it's there. And that's super important because otherwise your brain will stay in default mode. So write that down, calling it out, acknowledging it. Write that down. That's step one. Don't skip that and think it's too simple. It's super important. I guarantee you, most of us right now who struggle with imposter syndrome don't acknowledge it every single day, every single time it comes up. If we're not consciously directing our mind and training our mind what we actually want to believe on beliefs that actually serve us, our unconscious mind will just fill our thoughts about, yeah, but what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this thing I want doesn't actually happen? What if, what if, what if? So what was once all of this hope and excitement about growing your coaching business, all of a sudden you're worrying about, well, what about my kids? What if they need me right now? Does this make me a bad mom if my kids need me? If my kids are climbing on my back, asking for my attention, I'm trying to focus and put time on my business, am I a bad mom? Right, we're for sure going to let our kids down if we're making time for our business. Or what about our partners? Does this make me a bad partner if he or she needs me, but I've decided to take time to focus on my business today? Am I being a bad spouse or partner? What about summer? Summer's coming up. What if I just want to have a nice summer? I'm just going to wait 6 months and, I'm just not in a good place right now. You need to acknowledge all of these thoughts for what they are. Do you see how it's easy to go through your life, every single month go by, and you're telling yourselves these stories, not recognizing what's at the root of them, which is usually fear coming from imposter syndrome, right? So your brain wants to give you all of these objections, and they feel very real. They feel very urgent, why you shouldn't do this thing right now that you're feeling like an imposter about. So number one, recognize your brain is telling you that story. Acknowledge it, right? What are the symptoms that we talked about that you identify with? Are you aware of where it is in your life? Pluck it out. Let me know in the comments if there's areas of your life that you're realizing you are telling yourself that story. And here's what's even more crazy about it is that we create these images in our brain. Maybe it's a scenario that we start playing over and over and over in our minds, right? Our brains are very visual. We love pictures. We love movies. So we play it over and over in our minds, and then it becomes our beliefs, right? Our beliefs are our thoughts that we've practiced over and over and over, and we've been telling ourselves all this time. And now they're your reality. Now it's true. Now it feels rooted in your psyche. So we need to break that belief. So whatever your objection that your brain's telling you, you need to answer it. So what are some great questions that we can use? Once we acknowledge it and we acknowledge the story that's there, what are questions that we can ask ourselves to challenge that belief that's so practiced? Let me know. What are some questions that you can ask yourself? Once you're noticing, and some of you might already have some things that you tell yourself, thoughts that you like to tell yourself, what are some great questions that you can ask yourself? So we're telling ourselves, you're not ready, you're not giving enough to other people. Those are your stories. What can you say to answer that? What question can you ask yourself? I have spent years doing this. I have been wanting to do this, been told I should be doing this. Now that I'm where I'm at currently in life, I have had time to break through and work on this. Yep. Why not? What if? Yeah, those are great questions. Here's an easy one. Is it true? So when your brain's telling you you're not ready, you can ask your brain, is it true? How do I know that's true? Super powerful question you can ask yourself. Maybe you're like, well, seems kind of true. Yeah, I mean, it does seem kind of true. I don't think I am ready. That's probably true. Is it 100% true? Can you take this to a court and win? Do you have enough evidence to win beyond a reasonable doubt? No, there's no evidence. It's just a thought. We don't feel ready. Not having a client before isn't evidence that you're not ready. It's just a story that your brain is telling you. And we create our own reality. Whatever you are looking for, you will find evidence of. What do I want to be truth? What do I want my truth to be? Let me know that. Write it out. Speak it out into existence right now in the comments. What do I want my truth to be? Let me know. Because truly, we do get to create our own reality. We create our own results and experiences with our thoughts and our beliefs first. And this is something that can shift in a moment. It doesn't take years of deep inner work on your self-worth. Some of you are going, I need to get a mindset coach first to help me with my self-worth before I can start doing the work that I'm put here to do. No. You can shift out of that today. It happens in a moment. It's a daily choice. And how willing are you every day to stay conscious and aware of those thoughts and beliefs as they pop up and answer them? You have to answer those objections when you notice them. You can shift out of that in a moment. Who here feels like they had a shift today? Let me know in the comments if you feel like you had a shift even today, just acknowledging this. Was this a shift for you? I want my truth to be that I can help people ease their pain. Yes. I can help people right now ease their pain. Someone out there today is in pain, praying to find someone to help them ease their pain. And the only thing standing between you and that person who's praying every day when they wake up in pain for someone to come into their life and hold their hand to fixing their pain is your belief about your ability to start doing that right now. All right, my friends, imposter syndrome. We need to acknowledge it, call it out, and answer our brains in a moment. Don't let your brain tell you another story about why you need to go get another course or program or coach to help you fix this problem first before you start using your gifts to help people and get clients today. All right. So if you want help taking action, getting over imposter syndrome, whatever that limiting belief is for you, putting together an amazing package that helps people heal their pain, transform their life, transform their emotions, their bodies, their relationships, whatever area of their life people are suffering, putting that together into an amazing package that's high value that people are looking for and wanting and searching for right now, and then having systems in place to get clients with that exact same solution. Go into the comments and type talk. Go into the comments and type talk so someone from my team can chat with you about where you're at right now. What stage are you in? And how can we help you get to the next step? What should you do today? Go into the comments and type talk, and someone from my team will reach out to you and chat with you and talk to you about where you're at. What is the next step that you can take today? How do we start aligning our actions with that vision and that calling that we know every day we're here to be living in? Go into the comments and type talk, and someone from my team will reach out to you. All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Every single one of you are amazing souls, and you are here to do an amazing work on this planet. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye.